Hi everyone, I'm Maggie McGrath, editor of ForbesWomen. In the 4.5 years since the Taliban resumed control of Afghanistan, this totalitarian regime has systematically dismantled women's rights throughout the country. They have passed laws forbidding women's ability to move freely through the country, do work without a male guardian, attend school beyond the 6th grade, and even speak in public. Last summer, the UN said in a statement that, quote, "The Taliban is closer than ever to achieving its vision of a society that completely erases women from public life." However, journalists, including one especially courageous reporter, Sana Atef, are working to ensure that the stories of Afghani women are not erased, and in fact, they are disseminating these stories for the world to see. Sana reports under a pseudonym for the Zan Times at great personal risk, covering the harassment of women heads of households, female healthcare workers, child marriages, and more. She was the 2025 recipient of the International Women's Media Foundation Courage in Journalism Awards, and Sana joins us now. Sana, thank you so much for being here.
You're most welcome, and this is a place of honor for me to be with you today. Thank you so much.
You published a story last year that I think would be a good place to start for this conversation. In April 2025, you published A Day in the Life of a Female Journalist in Afghanistan. I'm wondering if you could just take our audience through what it's like on a day-to-day basis to do your job. How does it work?
Let me start from this place. Everything has changed in Afghanistan, especially the government. And day by day, the restrictions and limitations become more and more. I realized that there is the need of female journalists in this society where no female has their basic rights, like education, healthcare, or anything else. So that was something very challenging for me to start my mission as a journalist. But you know that in 2022, there was a window for me opened. The name of that window was Zan Times, and I started with them as a journalist, and every day we had many restrictions, we had many challenges. But step by step, by the support of our team and by the support of the leadership of the top management of Zan Times, we passed every one of them. And we work for the females. And if I mention about the days, the daily days or the routine of a female journalist, so I can mention that every day she must fully cover herself, like she must wear a burqa or a hijab, also a longer, we can say black dress, that she must have the business and she must put blue burqa. That's like a coverage for a female that you cannot breathe. You cannot take breath very well on that. And then while you're going outside of your home, you must delete everything, even a single message of your work colleagues, because it will help you while you're going through outside, if there is a checkpoint and they're going to check your phone or your data. So they will not understand that you're working with someone. And while I'm going outside, there must be a person with me, like a male guardian who accompany me every day. And this is a big challenge for me. That's someone I cannot do my job very well because sometime in Afghanistan, as the economy is weak. So every time you cannot have a person with yourself that he support you, he accompany you to go outside. And this is a big challenge. While you're going outside, so you don't have the right to sit in a taxi in the seat of it, you must go to the trunk of it because you're a female. And while you're sitting there, so you cannot fit. And this is something worrying I can say for a female. And then, while you are outside, you cannot say to anybody that I am a journalist, or you cannot mention to a person, so you cannot believe them that you show your identity to them. You must find the sources that you can believe in them.
How is it that as a reporter you are able to convince people to talk to you? Does it take days, weeks? Do you return to the same site again and again? Or do you try once and then for matters of safety go to a different hospital or a different house, etc.?
This is a big challenge, and even my colleagues, all of them know, because while we are going to have a topic, for example, a report, every time the deadline becomes too much for me, especially for me and my colleagues know very well, because the problem is that we cannot find the sources that we can believe them, and finding the sources, they will not make any problem or challenge for us. And exactly as I mentioned, every time the deadline becomes too much and take times, and for finding of the sources, believe me, most of the time it takes 1 or 2 weeks. And my colleagues know very well that this is a problem for me. And again, we are going to search for that till that time to find the exactly source for us, the source that will not make any problem for our security. And after that, we are going to interview with them. Without that, if we pretend, we could have interviewed with everybody. But just because of my security and the problem of the security, we cannot believe everybody and we cannot go through everybody to make them as a source for us and work with them.
What would happen if you were discovered to be a reporter?
Yeah, the consequences will not be good. And I mentioned every time this to my colleagues also. This is not a problem for me because this is my mission. I'm working to do this for women. And you know that never nobody heard their sound and their stories and remained. But I'm worried about my family because if somebody know about this, that I'm a journalist and working for this organization. So in Afghanistan, we have a lot of cases that there is a lot of journalists there. Even they are male, they are not female. They go to jail and they are there. I don't know what happened to them. What are they doing with them? But I am sure that the consequences will be roughly bad for us. And it will be like the death of a person, or it will be like they will kill a journalist, especially a female, that she is working for the rights of female.
Do you ever think about stopping? Again, you are doing this work at tremendous personal risk. No one would fault you for saying this is too dangerous. Do you ever think that?
If I tell you from the day I started, I didn't know about the risks of this job, but day by day, I know the risks that the condition is roughly. And day by day, the restrictions and limitation become more. And every day the condition becomes too much, especially for a female that she's working in this field. But never I thought with myself that I will stop. Because as I mentioned this also with my colleagues, every time in the meetings we are telling them the aim is to write the words of those women, that nobody know about their stories, nobody heard their stories, nobody know about their voices. And maybe one day, if we do not do this mission, maybe one day the world will forget them. So for not forgetting these females, we must do this job. And this is like our responsibility. And I'm so lucky in my second family, Zan Times, and all of my colleagues, and especially my supervisor. She is Miss Sahar Nader, another who supports me every day and every step of this journey with me. And this is I'm so lucky, and this is like a miracle for me, that I have her by side of me, and she is guiding everyday me. And I know she is a very kind person, and she have a lot of tension and worries about me and my security. And I know about this woman. And while she is supporting me, so it give a positive energy to me, and I talked with myself that never go back, and never I will stop this mission.
Now, one of your most recent stories talks about how contraceptive medicine, how midwifery services are being denied to women who need them. It is creating dire healthcare scenarios. You've interviewed women who have 9, 10, 11, 12 children whose doctors have told them they cannot get pregnant again or else they could die, and yet there is nothing that they can do. There is no medicine that they can access in the current state of Afghanistan to protect themselves. It's an important story, and I'm wondering what other stories you're looking at that haven't been told yet, that the world doesn't know, that you might want to share right now.
There's a lot of problems, and every day we are looking for them. We are finding best stories or best issues to make a report for that. And as you know, this was like something very important. And we searched for them for 6 or 7 months from different provinces. All our colleagues strive for that. And now, day by day, when the restrictions become more and more, we have a lot of other problems, like in health sector, we have in part of education, especially the teachers, that they are going just to teach the children, or the girls, from 1st to 6th class. They have some problems. And also the issue of Mahram, that we had one report about the class of Mahram, or the person that is going to accompany the females. And also the problems in regarding to taking passport and identity. And after the advice and after the discussion that we will have, some colleagues will select one issue, and after that we will go through searching for that issue, and we will make stories and reports for that one.
Now, you talk about the male guardians and the fact that they have to basically take time off of their work in order to accompany you or another woman who wishes to work. And so I'm wondering, I know your focus is on women, but what's your sense of how men, and especially the younger generation of men, are feeling in this moment? Do they support the regime, or are they sympathetic to the plight of Afghani women?
Yeah. Now there is something like I will mention female. I can say female is not alone in some cases. And they have supporters of their families, like I have the support of my family. But 100% all of the males are not in this space because in Afghanistan, a lot of families are uneducated. And without that, we don't have other males. They are not supporting their female. They are not in good condition. I can mention in my society, and the province, and the zone that I am, there is no male. They never come to the road. They never stand for the right of female. Nobody raised their voice. I can say just 2 or 3 times do some of the males come outside, and there is the classes that we are going to do supporting the female. Well, the men cannot support females. So we know that these women alone cannot do anything, and this is a big problem. I'm sure if the males stand side by side with females, so there will be not any problem. But unfortunately, there is no support for females, and this is a big challenge for all of us. Unfortunately, there is another problem. You know, there is a lot of girls. They become uneducated. They cannot go to school or university. They are getting married because their family wants. The big reason is that they are mentioning that our daughters cannot go to school or she cannot go to university. So the best option is to go to marriage. And this is something like she will make a family, she will give birth to a child, and she will have a brighter future with a husband because he will work and he will find money for them. And we had a lot of stories about this. If a female is uneducated, she cannot work also. So all of the girls are disappointed and they don't have any wish. And after that, maybe some of them, like do they have the support of family, they can go through online education, but unfortunately, the condition of Afghanistan is not good, especially for economy. They cannot have access to the online platforms or even we had some stories, even they don't have a smartphone.
So not even online courses are an option for some girls. Now, you talk about girls not having options, so they're getting married quite young. How young are girls getting married? How old are they the ones you're talking to?
Yeah. So I remember one of the stories that I wrote that was about 3 children. They were children, believe me. One of them was around 12, one was around 8 year, and another was around, I didn't remember exactly, but I think she was around 13 or 14. She got married, and when we were working for classes, online classes, I remember 2 girls, they mentioned to me that, when the schools became closed, I was at 8th grade of the school, and then my daddy said, you cannot go to school anymore, so it's better to get married, and now I have 2 children. And she was around 15 or 14.
15 years old with 2 children. That is horrific. Do you have hope for the future of Afghanistan at this moment?
I mentioned I don't have any hope for myself inside of this country. So how can I mention about other people's? Believe this is something so I cannot mention because while you are sitting with a female and while she is telling you the story of her and she is telling you that with hopes that maybe my voice will change everything. But when we see there is nothing and we cannot do anything further and we are going to raise their voices, we cannot give hopes to them. But I believe one day this dark night will be over and there will become a bright. And I hope every family will have access to their basic rights. I'm not speaking even about equal rights, just about basic rights. And I will never forget the tears of those women and girls while they were sitting with me. They are speaking with me, and I see a kind of hope on their eyes. But unfortunately, we cannot do anything for them.
Now, you're speaking through this Zoom to an audience of doers and dreamers, people who want to help, and recognizing that the situation for women in Afghanistan is dire. Is there anything you would tell our audience to do that could support you, your work, or the women of Afghanistan?
Well, I can say that females, especially in Afghanistan, they need the support of the world. Females never want support financially or support of things like money. Everyone in this condition, we need to support to achieve our basic rights, to have access to good school, university, work, and we dream just one day to go outside without a person to accompany us. And this is like a big wish for us, that one day we go without the burqa, just in Islamic hijab, we go outside. And this is like a wish for everybody. And those women there especially, and girls, they are at school, they cannot go to school, university, work. They wish one day they go and achieve their basic rights. This is like, I want the support of the world for all females. And I can say that please, please, never forget females in Afghanistan. They need your support. Just raise your voice and just raise their hands. That they go and they want everything they can do. And this is like everything for us. And thank you so much for everything.
Sana, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you so much for your reporting and for your work. Please stay safe. Please keep doing what you're doing, and we will be following all of your coverage on the Zan Times.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your time. And this was like an honor for me that today I was with you. And I hope we will one day see each other from near. And we will hug and we will say that, yeah, we did work on females, and the world know about them. And many, many thanks for everything.